Occupation is a crime!
From Iraq to Palestine!
Occupation is a crime!
From Iraq to Palestine!
Occupation is a crime!
Hands off Syria!
Hands off Syria!
Hands off Syria!
The only people who can solve Syria's problems are the people of Syria. At a press conference yesterday, the U.S. Secretary of the State, John Kerry, said about Syria, and I quote, "We will not repeat that moment." He was talking about Iraq. He called it a moment. He didn't even have enough respect to call it for what it actually was. A mistake, a catastrophe, a crime. 1 million dead in Iraq. Tens of thousands of dead in Afghanistan. What happened in these countries was not a moment. What's happening in Syria now is not a moment. This is their home. This is their lives. This is their future. I stood against US-led wars for my people in Afghanistan, for my brothers and sisters in Iraq and in Libya, and now for my brothers and sisters in Syria.
US NATO!
Hands off Syria!
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 Brothers and sisters, we are against terrorism, and that's why we are here, to tell this house of terror. We condemn your use of mass destruction in Vietnam. We condemn your use of mass destruction in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We condemn your use of nuclear and mass destruction weapons like phosphorus in Bakuba and in Iraq. We do condemn you for using weapon of mass destruction in Afghanistan. We condemn you for supporting the illegal state of Israel for using cluster bombs against people of Palestine and Lebanon. So, brothers and sisters, we are for freedom, they are for terrorism. Don't let them fool you. As the previous speaker says, 50 years ago, Martin Luther King says, "I have a dream." What this criminal in the White House today said, "I have a drone, I have the right to kill people without due justice and without due prosecution." This is the house of terror, not the leaders of the democracy.
If it weren't for the many thousands dead and the thousands that would die, it would be comical. The United States is going to war on the side of Al-Qaeda. They fight them in Afghanistan and they stand by them in Syria. They're going to bring democracy to Syria in alliance with the most archaic and the most decrepit regimes, the Qataris and the Saudis. They are upset about mass destruction and weapons of mass destruction, and it's the United States, the only country that used it on the civilians in Japan and is ready to use it on other people and continue to use it. They want to bring peace and to bring a solution, and they're stoking the fire by throwing more oil on the fire. You cannot bring peace from the other end of a gun, of the turret of a tank. You bring it with justice. You bring it with negotiations. You bring it with political settlements. You don't bring it with bombs and missiles, and you don't bring it by trying to ram into people a solution they do not accept. Talking about oil, this is a war about greed. This is now a war that has started or likely to start in a week's time, or because of some action that had happened. This is a war that had been planned by the people in the Pentagon and in the NATO headquarters for 10 years. They want to subjugate the people. They don't want anybody to stand up for justice, for freedom, and for representing the people. They want to mute voices like yours. They want to silence people who call for peace and for justice.
Shame, shame, USA! Shame, shame, USA! Shame, shame, USA! Shame, shame, USA! Shame, shame, USA!
And first of all, I want to thank you all for this amazing event, for this amazing protest against this building. The war is always dirty. There is no war that brings justice and peace. War always brings destruction, brings more widows, more orphans, more dead, more killing. And the war on Syria is also against the sovereignty of Syria, the sovereignty of a nation. And we are against any war, against any nation in this world.
There are those who are asking us why it is that we're still marching in Canada, even though Stephen Harper has announced that there will not be a Canadian military component to an attack on Syria. We've heard this before, however, from Stephen Harper. This is a man who has lied to us a dozen times over the course of his reign in Canada around specific issues around war. 4 times he said that Canada would not extend the mission in Afghanistan, and 4 times he lied, he turned around, and he sent more Canadian troops into Afghanistan to oppress and to occupy the people there. And he is now providing political support to the Obama government, the Obama administration, to support their drive to bomb Syria. We're also standing here across from the US Consulate, as we know, to highlight the fact that the biggest terrorist in the world today is the United States of America, is the US government. And they are the people who are going to kill innocent Syrians. They say in retaliation for killing. What a bizarre logic. They're saying that they're so appalled by the killing of civilians that they want to kill masses of civilians. This makes no sense whatsoever, but it is the logic of the US government, successive US governments, and we need to stand up and stand in opposition.
Hands up, Syria!